Determine. To determine something is to identify or find the reason something happens. Doctors have determined the cause of the man's illness. A plumber is trying to determine where the leak in the pipe is coming from. The mechanic looked at my car and determined the reason it was making noise. How much money you make determines the amount you pay in income taxes. As an adjective, if a person is determined, he or she is focused on achieving a goal through hard work and perseverance. Tommy is determined to get better grades in school. The company is determined to make a profit this year. We all admire Joe because he's so determined to do well at work. The word determination is a noun. Through sheer determination, the rescuers were able to save 10 people from a house hit by the earthquake. It requires grit and determination to be a successful business owner. Despite financial difficulties and a personal crisis, the young woman's determination helped get her through college. Develop. Use the word develop when describing something that has changed, grown, or increased over a period of time. Terry developed a headache from looking at a computer monitor all day. It took several years for the trees to develop, but now they are mature and healthy. Walter is developing into a fine young man. The city is developing a vacant lot and turning it into a park. Facts and information about the news story are still developing. The snowstorm developed into a big problem for travelers. Left on the ground, these acorns could one day develop into large oak trees. You can add meant to form the noun development. There's a new housing development planned for the city. This is an interesting new development in the legal case against the defendant. Haruna is taking early childhood development classes because she wants to work with children. Devote. To devote is to give time, energy, resources, and even one's life to something that is important. A person who is devoted makes sacrifices for good reasons so that something may continue. In these sentences, the word devote is a verb. Vanessa devotes her spare time to a shelter for homeless people. She's devoted to helping others. It's important for a company to devote adequate resources to train and retain employees. Many Catholic nuns devote their entire lives to helping people who are poor. Police officers have devoted their lives in order to serve the communities in which they live. LearnAmericanEnglishOnline.com is devoted to people around the world who want to learn English. The word devoted is used as an adjective. Bob is a devoted husband and father. Devoted funding for the school supports scholarships. Lou is a devoted daughter. The word devotion is a noun. The teachers at that school are well known for their devotion to their students. Bob gave all of his love and devotion to his family. Years of devotion to his studies resulted in a master's degree.
Dial. When you use a phone, you dial the number. This word comes from the dial that we all used to use on old phones before there were phones with buttons that needed to be pushed. The dial has holes in it. For each number, you put your finger in the dial and move it around until it stops on that metal thing you see in the picture. Even though most phones today have buttons or a keypad, we still use the word dial when making phone calls. It's usually a verb. What number did you dial? Did you dial the right number? I thought I had dialed the right number, but I think I made a mistake. I'm sorry, I dialed the wrong number. She must have dialed a 5 instead of a 6. Can you dial a number for me, please? You can get some assistance if you dial the operator.
Die. The verb die is used in English when a thing or a person stops living or operating. It's a very, very popular word. Here are some examples of ways to use the word die. The simple form of this verb is die. The past tense is died. The past participle is died. After his father died, Don needed to find a better job to support the family. If you don't take care of yourself, you might die at an early age. The musician Prince died in 2016. Everyone was sad to hear that he had died. If you don't give water to a plant, it will die. Everyone dies eventually. The battery in my car died. My phone is dying. My phone just died on me. The word die is commonly used to exaggerate a condition which does not involve death, but does indicate a bad situation. I'm dying for something to drink. That dog is dying for attention. Sandra says she'll die if she doesn't do well on her test. We're dying to find out what's going to happen next. I just about died when I heard the news. Some parts of the retail industry are slowly dying as they face competition from Amazon. Coal mining is a dying industry because coal can no longer compete with solar and wind as a source of energy. That's to die for. I feel like I've died and gone to heaven. Diet. The word diet is used when talking about the consumption of food. This word is both a noun and a verb. To be on a diet means that a person's consumption of food is regulated for the purpose of maintaining good health. Alicia's doctor put her on a special diet because her sodium levels are too high. Victor is on a diet because he wants to lose weight. I need to go on a diet because my clothes don't fit me as well as they used to. To have a diet means that you consume food, good or bad, but the quality of the food has a lasting impact on your overall daily health. Edgar has a good diet. He eats fruit and vegetables every day, and he eats very little meat. Layla has a poor diet. She eats a lot of junk food and never eats fresh fruit or vegetables. For people who live near the ocean, fish and seafood are a major part of their diet. Vegetarians exclude meat products from their diet. Do you have a good diet or a poor diet? The word diet is also used as a verb. To diet is to control the amount or quality of food consumed in order to lose weight. Walter is dieting because he's 50 pounds overweight. Charlene has been dieting and exercising over the last few months to get ready for swimsuit season. Dieting is very difficult for some people. Have you ever dieted? Different. The word different is the opposite of same. When something is different, we understand what the difference is by making a comparison. These sentences and questions provide examples of the adjective different. An apple is very different from an orange. How are those two men different from each other? She's different from all of the other girls that Bill has gone out with. I didn't realize they each spoke a different language. She speaks Cantonese and he speaks Mandarin. How are those two ideas different? You should sit in a different seat, one that's closer to the board. These sentences provide examples of the noun difference. There are many differences between an apple and an orange. There's no difference between those two people. They're exactly the same. There's a big difference between the girl that Bill is going out with now and the girls he has gone out with in the past. Differences between Cantonese and Mandarin are hard to distinguish by someone who speaks neither language. It doesn't make any difference to me whether you like my ideas or not. Sitting in front of the classroom made a big difference in her grades. Now she's an A student. Dim. The word dim is an adjective that describes a low level of light. It gets dim as the sun sets. It suddenly got dim as storm clouds passed overhead. It was way too dim for Carla to read, so she turned on a light. Dim lighting at the intersection caused an accident. The light coming from my computer was too bright, so I made it dimmer. The word dim can also be used to describe a situation. They took a dim view of his proposal. Chances for a deal to avoid a government shutdown are looking dim. Matt's odds of getting the job that he wants are looking dimmer and dimmer. Sometimes dim describes a person who is not very intelligent. Todd is a dim person. She's not very interesting. In fact, she's kind of dim. A lot of people say that the owner of the company is a dimwit. A device that decreases or increases the level of light is called a dimmer. Turn down the light with a dimmer. Is there a dimmer switch? Hit the dimmer. Dine. The word dine is similar to the word eat, but it's usually a word associated with very good yet expensive food. Helen and Saul dined late last night because they both had late afternoon meetings to attend. Not everyone can afford to dine regularly at 4-star restaurants. Where would you like to dine this evening? At what time is everyone dining? The word dining can be used as an adjective or as a noun. The city of New York is known to offer a tremendous variety in fine dining. When Tom traveled from the East Coast to the West Coast on Amtrak last year, he ate in the dining car every night. We ate our dinner last night in the dining room. Dining on seafood and steak at a good restaurant is a luxury many people can now afford. Dip. The word dip is used when putting an object, such as food, into a soft or liquid material. A dipping action goes down and then back up again. Before eating the tortilla chip, Martha dipped it in some salsa. The ice cream cone was dipped in chocolate. Cheese curds are dipped in batter and then deep fried to make fried cheese curds. When I dip a paintbrush into a can of paint, I'm careful not to let the paint drip. Dip your toe in the water to see how warm it is. You can also use dip for other situations that don't involve liquid. Temperatures dipped below freezing last night and killed the tomato plants. Edward is trying not to dip into his savings. The professor dipped carefully into the sensitive topic of abortion during class discussion. The sun dipped below the horizon and then completely disappeared before it got dark. Sometimes dip is used as a noun. Let's take a dip in the lake. That's a great cheese dip. There's a dip in the road coming up. Don't be a dip. Disappoint. The word disappoint is used when a person is unhappy with a situation. In this case, there was an expectation for a positive outcome or a belief that something good would happen, but instead, the opposite occurred. You really disappoint me. I'm very disappointed in you. Many Americans are very disappointed by the results of the election. Democrats are disappointed that so many Republicans supported a nominee with a pessimistic view of America. It's very disappointing that a well-qualified candidate was beaten by someone who has no experience as an elected official and has very little knowledge of government or the U.S. Constitution. The word disappointment is a noun. It's a huge disappointment to learn that a large number of Americans supported a candidate who has a history of making unwelcome advances upon women. Disappointment with the election results will show in the faces of those who believe a great opportunity has been lost and a huge mistake has been made. Disaster. A disaster is a terrible situation. You can use this word for accidents, damage caused by storms, problems created by mistakes, failed relationships, and poor performances. The word disaster is also used for exaggerating problems. Alfredo's backyard is a disaster. The speech given by the candidate was a disaster. The kitchen was a disaster after the children spent the afternoon making cookies. Keeping a wild animal as a pet is a disaster waiting to happen. Our city's police and fire departments are prepared for disasters. Disaster relief organizations went to Haiti following the earthquake. The state of Oklahoma requested disaster assistance in the wake of several strong tornadoes that leveled 3 small towns. We've noticed a dramatic increase in natural disasters in the last 10 years. It can take weeks or months to clean up after a disaster. The word disastrous is an adjective. A disastrous epidemic hit the small village quickly and killed hundreds of people. Several disastrous decisions caused the paper company to go out of business. Sarah has had 2 disastrous relationships in the last few years. If carbon emissions continue to rise, the effects will be disastrous. Disease. A disease is a kind of sickness. If a disease is contagious, you can get that type of sickness from other people. Not all types of disease are contagious. Some diseases are common and not life-threatening, but other diseases are very serious and can kill you. Cancer is a disease that affects millions of people. Elderly people might get Alzheimer's disease. It's not a contagious disease. A virus that causes a disease is infectious. AIDS is a disease that develops from the HIV virus. The measles is a contagious disease. Ebola is a very dangerous disease. You can catch it from other people. Tuberculosis is a common disease in some third world countries. Malaria is a disease spread by mosquitoes. Cardiovascular disease is not infectious. It's important to pay attention to reports of any new diseases. To help prevent the spread of a disease, you should always wash your hands. Brush and floss your teeth to prevent gum disease. The word diseased is an adjective. I have a diseased tree in my front yard. The tree has to come down. If your kidneys are diseased, you might require dialysis treatments. Richard is going to die because he has a diseased liver. dismal. The word dismal is an adjective that describes a bad situation or a feeling. It's similar to the word depressing. The results from the test were dismal. Alberto and Emma had a dismal experience when they visited Dallas. Todd has a dismal outlook on life. He's a very pessimistic person. This is just dismal. The weather looks dismal today. People used to think old buildings looked dismal and dreary, but nowadays there is a greater appreciation for the old architecture. Display. The word display means to show or to exhibit. In these sentences, display is a verb. The store is displaying new clothes for summer. This museum displays art created by local artists. The U.S. displays its military strength through its armed forces positioned around the world. Edith likes to display her wealth in order to make others envious. Robert doesn't like to display his emotions in public. Olympic officials in Russia displayed the newly designed 2014 Winter Olympic medals. In these examples, display is a noun. The store has a lot of new clothes on display. The outdoor display attracted so much attention it caused a traffic jam. A display of military force convinced North Korea to back down. Scantily clad girls on display at the beach are a common sight in the summer. How much is the necklace that's on display in the window? A beautiful display of fabric attracted shoppers.
your friends all say it's fine, but